share your slides and take
Thank
off.
you. Thank you. Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining our webinar program. As it was mentioned, the title of webinar today is Leveraging AI and ChatGPT in Digital Marketing. So the learning objectives for this webinar is we start with defining AI, machine learning, natural language processing, so the basics. And then we explore the practical applications of AI in digital marketing. I'm going to spend some time in prompt engineering uh, because it's a foundation and it's significantly important. Then we start using generative AI for digital marketing tasks, understand the role of AI in search engine optimization, and finally, a very new topic, AI search optimization. Before I start, my name is Farid Parvini. You can use this code to connect with me. I started studying mathematics, got my bachelor in mathematics. I got my second bachelor in mechanical engineering, my master in bioinformatics. I was always wanted to be a university professor, so I went back to school and got my master and PhD in computer science from USC. And since then, I have been teaching at USC, Cal State Long Beach, Fullerton, Chapman, University of San Diego this semester. The courses that I usually teach are databases, advanced algorithm. I guess my keyboard, yeah, my keyboard. So database management, algorithm, web programming, search engine theory, and AI for business. This is the last company that I had, an AI consulting company, Web Concepts AI. Uh, we used to do the agent development, um, AI training, um, was our focus. So we could train your staff how to use AI efficiently, and then something just beyond using ChatGPT. So let's just start with some definitions. The first one, of course, is artificial intelligence. That refers to the general ability of computers to emulate human thought and behavior, perform tasks in real-world environment. So this is a very broad definition of artificial intelligence. Then we have machine learning, which refers to technologies and algorithms that enable systems to identify pattern and make decisions and improve themselves through experience and data. So machine learning are just a bunch of algorithms and techniques. It's very specific. We are using some algorithm to process data, and based on that, we can get information from the data. And then we have neural network, one of the most popular algorithm in machine learning uh, that cover a wide range of concepts and techniques. So in a neural network, we have input and output, and I'm going to talk about briefly about that. So let's say we have a neural network, and the whole purpose of that neural network is recognizing images. So when it sees an image, it can recognize if it's a dog. So the concept here is we have to train neural net for them a lot of pictures, and then based on that, the net's gonna train itself, and finally we hope that when we show an image of a dog, with high probability it can say, okay, this is a dog. So that's neural network. Keyword is, there's a problem with, because of Chrome is crashing. And then we have natural language processing. So natural language processing is the discipline of building machines that can manipulate human language. The way that we write, speak, or organize data. A good example of natural language processing is our friend ChatGPT. First of all, GPT stands for Generative Pre-trained Transformer. Generated because it creates new stuff. You can ask ChatGPT to write an email and it can write email, so it's generative. Pre-trained means that it was trained on a predefined data, and each GPT was trained based on some specific data. For example, 3.5 was based on uh, internet data before September 2021. And finally, Transformer is the technology that it's using. In this case, it's using the Transformer technology that was developed by AI. So ChatGPT is not a neural network. It's not an artificial intelligence. It's just a natural language um, processing application. So here we see the domains again. We have AI, the big umbrella, and then subset of that is machine learning, deep learning, neural network, and natural language processing, which has an intersection with um, machine learning and deep learning. So these are some applications of AI. And that's the scary part. So we can see AI in administrative tasks. We use it in creating smart content, autonomous vehicles, recommendation system, navigations, and robotics. So you are going to see artificial intelligence and um, machine learning in many, many areas. Um, these are the verticals that we can use AI again in human resources, in healthcare, agriculture, gaming, automobiles, social media, marketing, finance. And in this webinar, we are more focusing on marketing. These are some of the popular AI tools from ChatGPT, DALL-E, Jasper, you name it. I just put it here for your reference. So if you want to use, you can go to different one. Cloud, the people are talking about cloud because uh, it's very good at processing larger data and then programming and that kind of stuff. So let's start with ChatGPT. I'm sure that you have used ChatGPT, but if you
Fareed, your
yes.
slides look like they're stuck on a picture of the dog and um,
Oh, let me stop sharing and then start again because I moved share. Do you see ChatGPT now?
you're just starting to share. So let me see what happens. The screen I'm seeing just says that you've started screen sharing, but it doesn't show a share. If you can stop that, go ahead and stop it and then restart.
Let's try again. Share.
Okay, I see the message that says you're starting screen sharing, but for whatever reason, I don't see anything coming up in the share.
That's weird. Maybe I should. Oh, if I can.
Okay, let's try once more, Fareed, and then if we can't get the share up, why don't you go ahead and sign out, sign back in, and
What
see if
about now? Do you see?
no, I just see actually I see your video square. I don't see you trying to share at all.
Okay, let me log out and then log
Yeah, there
back
may
in
be something
again.
corrupted. Why don't you go ahead and just log out, log back in again, and see if that solves the issue. And to our guests, sorry for this. We very seldom have technical issues with Zoom these days, but here we are. So I'm sure Fareed will be right back in, and we can get the session going again. Yes, thank you for your patience. While we're waiting, I'm always just curious to get feedback. Was everybody able to hear and see the video well? You could just put your answer in the chat there. Great. Okay. Yes, and for SN, the video played at the first part of the session, and I'm glad to hear that it played well. Yeah, AI these days seems to be getting into every area of our lives. I saw a video earlier today about some Chinese robots, and there's also a company here in the United States, Boston Robotics, that's been producing robots for a number of years now. And these robots are getting to a spot where, in terms of what they can do, it's really amazing. The Chinese robots were acting in unison, doing kung fu karate moves, including running up against a wall and running up the wall and doing a backflip back down onto the mats. Um, and they do gymnastics, and it's really quite amazing to watch what they can do. Okay, I see Fareed has joined us again. Yes, Fareed, I see you starting, and I see your PowerPoint now on a slide that's titled Chat GPT,
Okay.
and then it says suggest fun activities.
Okay. So, and you can hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you
Okay.
fine. Thank you.
Okay. Sorry for the inconvenience. Okay. So let's start with our friend ChatGPT. I'm sure that you guys have used ChatGPT, but if you haven't, you definitely should use. Go to chat.openai.com. You can start even without having an account, or you can create a free account and then start using that one. So chat.openai, OpenAI is a company that basically developed ChatGPT. Um, so here is a screen of that. So the first GPT was, or ChatGPT was developed in 2018. And then when we talked about neural network and training, there are some parameters that you train in neural network. And in ChatGPT 1, there were 117 million parameters that they had to train. In ChatGPT 3.5, that was released in 2022, they were 175 billion. So we can see how much improvement they made, and that's why it can do amazing things. And these are just some of the versions. ChatGPT 5 came in August 2025. It's multimodal. It can be used for voice, image, and video, and significantly improve reasoning and speak. So uh, as a user, of course, you want to definitely use the best one. So everybody use ChatGPT 5 as a user. But if you're a developer, it's going to be different because you have to pay based on the ChatGPT that you are using. So again, if you are a user, you can use it, the latest one that's available for you. As far as pricing, you can have free plan. Before ChatGPT 5, if you had a free plan, you could just use ChatGPT 3.5. And then if you wanted to get a better one, you had to pay like $20 per month. But when ChatGPT 5 came, it's free for everybody. Of course, there are some limitation as far as when you're using the free account versus when you pay $20. But When you are a developer, then it's going to be different. The use is based on kind of the number of messages that you send to the uh, back end. And you can see that, for example, 3.5 is much cheaper than version 4. And then version 4, that they dropped the price. And in ChatGPT 5, they dropped again. Um, but if you're a developer and you want to use it as a developer and send a message using API, you have to be concerned about the pricing. The pricing based on that is number of tokens that you send. And here you see that, for example, if you have a message, they are different tokens. Um, and based on the token, they charge you. Uh, so ChatGPT is accessible to all free users, but you have 10 messages every 5 hours using GPT-5. If you want to use GPT-5 and you have free account, you can use just 10 messages. If you pay $20, uh, the they offer much more, and then you can have 3,000 messages per week. And then GPT Pro, which is $200 per month, unlimited use of ChatGPT 5, and it includes also accessing GPT-5 Pro. They also have a team or enterprise or education version that they come with different tiers. So here is the table again that compares the free account, plus account, pro account, and team or enterprise account, and the limitation. As far as the security of your information, uh, there are some concerns that, okay, if you share something with ChatGPT, other people can see that or not. The rule of thumb is regular users like you and others, they cannot see each other's data. All ChatGPT interactions are private to your own account, and there is no public chat history. OpenAI, though, can use the information for training. And if you want to specifically say, okay, I don't want my data to be used for training, you can go to setting data controls in chat history and training, turn it off. There is one concern that was raised a couple of months ago, and Sam Altman said, okay, you know what? If you are um, talking to ChatGPT and you are talking about, your marriage, use it as a legal counselor or therapist, that information um, maybe can be used for legal cases. So if law enforcement or a court issues a subpoena, OpenAI could be legally required to produce specific user data. It doesn't mean that if you share that data with ChatGPT, your neighbor can find it. But what Sam Altman was saying that there is no protocol yet that protect that information. So if law enforcement or court issue a subpoena, OpenAI is obligated to provide that information. And because of that, maybe you don't want to do that. Um, in enterprise or team plans, data is not even used for training. So again, access, there is no access. OpenAI can use it for training. Law enforcement can get it. Enterprise, probably. Uh, Another generative AI that probably you use is Gemini. Gemini is developed by Google. So if you want to use it, you have to go to gemini.google.com. Same concept. They have a free account, they have paid account, and depends on what you want to do. Maybe you just choose to use a free account. The other one that I mentioned, Cloud, is very good. So this is cloud.ai. You can use it without any account, or just provide your email and use it as a free account. As far as you're concerned, there is not that much between ChatGPT and Gemini. ChatGPT is based on generative pre-trained transformer. Gemini is based on Gemini large language model. Um, of course, there are some differences when they look at some specific data set, but as a user, uh, it depends on what you want to do and then which one you prefer. There's not that much difference. So again, this is, for example, ChatGPT 4. Um, this is usually the starting point for you. Um, you start sending some prompt to the platform. So what is prompt? Prompt refers to the initial input that you provide to the model in order to receive a response. Remember when Google came, there was a famous box that you put your query there, and then that was the initial request that you send to Google, and then you get response. Now they call it prompt. So prompt is what you put, for example, here in Message GPT. That's where you put your prompt. So prompt can be a question, statement, or any text that you want AI to respond. And AI use this prompt to understand the context and generate a relevant and coherent response. So here is what you put prompt. So I decided that instead of going to many prompts, I show you some prompts, but uh, as I said, prompt engineering is significantly important. This is the core of working with generative AI. So instead of giving you some fish, I like to teach you fishing. So I want to talk about prompt engineering. So here you see that if you go to ChatGPT, for example, and put what day is today, so that's the original prompt, and the response is, okay, today is something. And then you can ask the next question and so on. So this is the prompt. Why it matters? Why is prompt is important? Because the quality, clarity, and specificity of the prompt dictates the relevance and usefulness of AI output. And a very well-crafted prompt can help model to understand the task and deliver a response that meets the user expectation. And of course, there's a new uh, kind of um, career or job. It's called prompt engineering. So prompt engineer is the person that know how to design, refine, and optimize prompt and use it in generative AI model. Because if you know prompt engineering, you can produce accurate, relevant, and useful output. So prompt engineering is the technique that you can use generative AI efficiently. So what's the purpose of prompt engineering? First, it gives you control. Um, Second, efficiency. Remember, if you're using API, you have to pay, for example, OpenAI. So if you can use it efficiently, you don't have to use a lot of prompts and then you pay less. So it's efficient, time-wise and money-wise. And finally, task specificity. Um, you can get the response that you want, and then you don't have to do it many times for many different reasons. The analogy that I always use is like this. So generative AI is like hiring a very good chef. So just assume that you have a very good chef in-house. If you provide a vague instruction like cook me something nice, probably the chef will cook something good, but you don't know what that is until you see that. On the other hand, if you say, okay, prepare a three-course Italian meal focusing on vegetarian dishes with gluten-free option, then you can expect what you get because you provided specific instruction. That's the same thing with generative AI. It's like a very good chef. It can do a lot of things, but if you don't provide a specific instruction, then you don't get what you expected. So the key steps in the process is first, you have to understand the task. What outcome or information do you want from AI? And you have to be very clear on the goal of the prompt. Second, you have to provide some context. Provide sufficient background so AI understand the domain or problem. So for example, if you are asking about marketing trend, then you have to provide the context that, okay, what's the time frame? What's the industry? What are the target audience? Then you have to design the prompt. You have to structure your prompt logically. If the task is complex, you have to break in smaller part that generative AI can manage. Sometimes you have to refine the prompt. Um, you have to revise it, be more specific, add some constraint, and so on. And finally, optimize for the best result. Sometimes you can use techniques like chain of thought that I'm going to talk about, role-based prompting, and so on. So what are the challenges of prompt engineering? The first one is overly general prompts. This is usually what people do. They ask a very generic or not specific question. So the solution for that problem is you have to refine and add more details to the prompt. So remember, the first important problem or challenge in prompt engineering is general prompts. The second is ambiguity. Sometimes AI misinterpret vague instruction, so you have to use clear language and define terms when necessary. Prompt length is important. There is a concept called context windows. That's the length of the prompt that you can communicate with generative AI. It's not that simple, but for sake of discussion, we can say, okay, let's say there is a window and there is a limitation in the number of words that you can talk to generative AI. So if the information that you provide is larger than that limitation or window, platform has to cut it, and then you are going to lose some data. So too much information can be cut, too little can result in superficial answers. So you have to strike a balance between context and being brief and sent in different places. And finally, bias in output. Generative AI can be unintentionally be very biased and lead to biased outputs. So we have to be very mindful about that. What are the common types of prompts? First, direct prompts. Very simple to the point. We say, okay, what's cryptocurrency? Very simple, direct to the point. The second one that I highly recommend and we use it a lot is called role-based prompt. You assign a specific role to AI. You say, you know what, you are my tutor, Spanish tutor. You are my search engine optimization uh, consultant. You are my legal advisor. So you assign the role and as soon as you assign a role, generative AI know the context and start using that. So example like that is you are a customer service agent handling a refined request. Now you assign a role and now you can request what you want. Write a polite email explaining the refund process and offering an alternative solution. The next one is contextual prompt. You add relevant background information. So maybe your prompt is direct, but you add more context. And this is an example in the context of retail business, do this. A chain of thought is very important, asking AI to break down its thought process step by step. And often for complex task or if your task involved in calculation or something. I don't know if you have done that, but recently we were implementing an AI agent for a CPA. And then at some point, we realized that when we ask ChatGPT to add some numbers, the numbers are not added correctly. So we had to use just this chain of thought and say, you know what, show us the process step by step. How do you add these numbers? And then we could find out what where the mistake is happening. So chain of thought is for asking AI to break down the process into step by step so you can see that. And finally, constraint-based prompts. You can specify boundaries like summarize this report to 2 pages, summarize this description to 1 paragraph, less than 100 characters, or something like that, or even format or tone. Sometimes you want to send an email to someone, you say, you know what, I want the tone to be very friendly. I want the tone to be very professional and polite and so on. So these are some of the basic prompts. So I'm not going to um, take your time for this. You can read it later. But for I just go over a couple of them. So you can simplify complex topics. You can, ask what is um, cryptocurrency, as I said, what is um, uh, IP address, what is anything that you think is complex, you can ask for a definition. Generate summaries. It can edit your writing, check errors, suggest ways to improve your writing. It definitely can write emails, discover new ideas, outline the content. These are more interesting. You can improve your decision making and prompt like this. Again, you can read this later, learn from the best. Your personal tutor, uh, you can learn a lot of things and then come up with a plan. I want to learn Python programming language in 2 weeks. So come up with a plan, you can do that. This is a good example of using role-based. You can say, you know what, you are my intern, and then I want you to do this. Learn any new skills. Learn faster with 80-20 techniques. One interesting thing that you can do is you can ask one generative AI to write prompt for another one. For example, if you want to create a logo for your business, the platforms that create logo, usually they are using a very specific prompt because they are dealing with graphics and then resolution and those things. So if you don't know how to write prompt for those, you can use ChatGPT or another generative AI. You can say, okay, I'm going to create a logo, for example, in this platform. And then I want you to create the prompt for that. So it can create prompt for another platform. Rewrite and simplify complex text. So those are just general prompts. Now we go back to some prompts that can be used for marketing. For example, email marketing. Um, let's say you want to send an email to your clients, and then you can ask ChatGPT to write the email and use a prompt like this. So speak directly to the needs and pain points of my clients and pursue them to do this with a sense of urgency. One thing that is important is, as I said, you can use prompt to create generative AI to create prompt for another generative AI. Generative AI can improve your prompts. So something like this, be my prompt creator. So you assign the role of prompt creator. So you already have a prompt, but you want to make it perfect. So use Gen AI to uh, make that prompt better. It can optimize your website. I show you some examples. Call direct message, for example. You want to send a direct message and then you want to see how you should do that. A lot of people are using for creating social media posts using a prompt like this. Simplifying complex information. Create email templates. Again, these examples, you can go and use them. Write a blog post. YouTube ad scripts. Generate content ideas. Let's say you have a website and then you want to create some content. Generative AI can generate the content for you. So these are something that we use beyond just prompts. Marketing a new product. Let's say you have an idea, you want to develop it, or maybe you are a marketing agency and you want to market a new project. what kind of questions should you ask? So if you are a marketing agency and someone approaches you and say, you know what, I want you to market this, what you should do. These are something that we use in our business a lot. So we had a client that they wanted to start selling laptops in Irvine. They approached us and then they wanted us to um, do the job for them, do the marketing. But we cannot just start doing that. We have to ask and make sure that they did due diligence, they did their homework, they know what their position is, and so on. So we asked ChatGPT that what kind of research this company has to do. And then it comes with the list of things that they have to do even before considering to do marketing. Another perfect example was um, JotForm is a product that people use. They put it on the website to submit the form. So if you have a website and you want to submit a form on your website, you can use JotForm. So we had a client that they had a similar product like JotForm, and then they wanted us to do marketing for them. So again, my team has to come up with the kind of process to see if they are ready for doing marketing. Have they done the research? Do they know what's the niche? What differentiate their product from, for example, JotForm? So we went to ChatGPT and asked one of our clients asked us to market their new product, which is similar to JotForm. What question should we ask? And then we even can ask ChatGPT to provide the best expected answers. Um, as you know, e-commerce is very, very popular these days. Very popular. And AI and generative AI greatly impacted e-commerce and digital marketing. So these are some of the things that we can do when it comes to e-commerce. Of course, they require a lot of programming and expertise, but I just want to show you the things that you can do. The first one is AI-powered website. So you can connect your website to ChatGPT, for example. I'm going to talk about that in chatbots. Personalization in e-commerce. It's significantly important. You can use generative AI to personalize your e-commerce website, which means that if I go to your website, I see completely a different user interface, even colors, based on my browsing history, purchase history, demographic, or more things. So you can personalize your website based on a lot of data that you have. You also can uh, change the recommendation. So when you buy something, you want to recommend, but that recommendation can be based on, again, browsing history and purchasing history. You can send personalized email, targeted advertisement, and so on. So this is very important these days, personalization in e-commerce. Predictive analytics. With machine learning, um, we can predict trends, customer behavior, and future sales. So we can analyze past purchase history, browsing behavior to predict what products a customer may be interested in next. We had a client, they had a flower shop. They wanted to find out, okay, this coming Valentine, how much flour they have to purchase, because if they purchase more, it's going to be waste. If we purchase less, maybe they run out of inventory very fast. So they wanted to know based on um, 10 years history how much they should buy. So we can do that. Chatbots and virtual assistant. So chatbots are not new. websites had chatbots from like 15 years ago, 10, 15 years ago. But the problem with those chatbots was they were very static, and then they were basically an FAQ. So if you asked a question that was in an FAQ, they could provide the answer. But if it was not, they couldn't do anything. But now with generative AI, you can revolutionize customer service, because you can have a customer service 24/7 on the website that provides a very good information. It's not limited to previous defined questions. It can handle many queries at the same time. It can be like 24 hours um, sales agent on your website that provide exact information based on your internal document. So it significantly helps. Visual search and image recognition is very popular these days. Supply chain inventory and management. You can optimize inventory, reduce costs, and predict future inventory needs. AI-driven pricing and sales strategy. So 10 years ago, if you had an e-commerce website, you had to go to your competitors, find out how much they are selling the exact product, and make sure to adjust your price, because you didn't want to be very off. And you had to do this process manually. Now, with the help of AI, um, you can adjust price not only based on competitors, but based on demand and other market factors. Voice commerce, you're all familiar with. Sentiment analysis for brand perception is very important. So let's say you're a big company and you just had a new product, and you want to see what is the reaction or feedback of the market to that new product. Even if you hire a team of 5, 6 people and they want to go through your Facebook and Instagram account and read all the feedback, maybe it's not going to be consistent because each person has a different perception. But with AI, you can read all the uh, social media posts, product reviews to find out the public sentiment about your brand. We can improve data privacy and ethics. Uh, we can improve fraud detection to make sure that it doesn't happen. So again, these are the things that we can do with generative AI for e-commerce. But let's look at digital marketing specifically. As you might know, digital marketing has four major channels: search engine optimization, social media, pay-per-click or Google Ads, for example, and email marketing. So these are four major digital marketing channels. Anything beyond this, like newspaper, TV, and so on, it's not actually digital marketing. So we start focusing on search engine optimization. What is search engine optimization? I have a webinar, what every business owner should know about SEO, and you can find the next one. In that webinar, I talk about how Google rank your website, what are the things that you have to do on your website to get ranked, and so on. As I mentioned before, people are using generative AI for creating blog posts, social media content, email content, and so on. But what else? If we can go beyond that, let's say for SEO. SEO, if you look at SEO is about on page, what you do on your website, which means that you have to have a good content, how to write meta tags, how to write URLs, and how to write descriptions about how fast your website is, speed of your website, and finally, if your website is mobile friendly. So this is called on-page SEO, and everything is about your website. The other part of SEO is off-page SEO, anything beyond your website, especially creating backlinks. This is 90% of SEO. If you don't create backlinks, to your website, you are not going to get ranked. Definitely. The core algorithm of Google is based on backlinks. And as I said, 90% of ranking is based on backlinks. Citation, how your information is populated on internet. If your website is secure, installing SSL, and finally, your reviews. So this is SEO in 5 minutes. So how generative AI can help SEO? Definitely, it can help writing content, but what beyond that? Um, so the first thing that you can do is finding the right keyword. If you want to do SEO, if you want to do PPC, even if you want to do social media, you have to know what keywords you have to target. So ChatGPT can help you to understand and identify good keywords for your business. So simply describe your business and products, and ChatGPT can suggest keywords. Based on that, it can suggest content. So content ideas. On-page SEO guidance. If you remember, SEO has two sections or two modules, on-page and off-page. So ChatGPT can provide guidance. Things like how you write meta titles and descriptions, how to write image alt text, how to use H1, H2, how to structure your URLs. So it can provide some guidance for all of these. It can also provide information about how to your site structure should be, how internal linking, page load speed. Remember, the speed is a part of on-page SEO, mobile optimization, and so on. It can optimize the content. So if you provide a piece of content, ChatGPT can suggest improvement to make it more SEO friendly. It can suggest some strategies for creating backlinks. So as I said, 90% of SEO is creating backlinks, and ChatGPT or other generative can suggest strategies to create backlinks. If you have a local business and you want to be a part of local search, when people search something, Google, you want Google to display your business as a local business in 3 packs or map, then you can ask ChatGPT to provide advice on optimizing for locals. As you can see, all of these are just tips, guidance, best practices. ChatGPT or generative AI cannot do SEO for you. It can give you some suggestions, but those suggestions need to be implemented. Someone has to do it for you. ChatGPT cannot do it. So ChatGPT cannot replace an SEO team because you need human expertise, you need comprehensive strategy building, hands-on experience, you have to adapt to algorithm change. It requires team collaboration. So it cannot replace your SEO, but it can provide a very good information. How you can use AI to enhance your on-page SEO. As I said, it can check your website, check the speed of the website, check your website is ADA compliant. For example, it's mobile friendly, if it's secure, and also check the keywords. And usually when it comes to doing these tasks, I use Gemini because Gemini is connected to Google and it provides much better insights because it's connected to Google and has access to the Google data. So because I didn't want to use any personal website, I used Irvine Spectrum Center, for example, which is a public place in Irvine. So I can say, can I analyze this website for me? And it analyzed the website. What are the keywords in this website? It can list it. How is the speed of this website? It says this website loads in 2.3 seconds and it's considered good loading. And then these are some of the things that you can do to make it even better. I should give you a heads up that sometimes when you say, okay, check this website, you get the message that I'm sorry, I'm not able to access the website. We did a lot of research with my students. We couldn't find any correlation between why some websites are accessible, some that are not. It has nothing to do with the uh, history. It has nothing to do with the website being ranked or not. So I couldn't find any correlation. We couldn't find any correlation, but just give you a heads up that you may get this message that we are unable to access this website. Another thing that you can do with generative AI in SEO is programmatic SEO. So let's say you have an e-commerce website and you have a lot of product page, large catalog. If you have a travel website, different destinations, hotels and activities. If you have a website with job boards, various job titles and locations, or real estate site with individual properties and neighborhoods, you cannot afford to get limited to, let's say, 20, 30 products or 20 destinations or 20 job titles. You want to SEO a wide range of that, and this is where programmatic SEO comes. The benefit of programmatic SEO is increased organic traffic, improve user experience. It's very scalable and cost effective. So how programmatic SEO works? First, you do keyword research with AI. You create template by AI. You generate the content. So the content generation is automated. You generate the page, optimize, and finally publish. Um, I want to show you an example of what you can do with generative AI that usually people don't use. And this is find out keyword. So how you can identify the keyword for your business. Let's say we just started a local business in Irvine and we want to install solar panels. Okay, I started solar panel company in Irvine and I want to market my company, make sure people find it. What are the keywords that I should use? Of course, solar panel is one of them, but I just cannot limit myself to one keyword. I want to at least find 30, 40 keywords and then start from there. So this task used to take at least 1 or 2 days for my staff to do it because they have to know the business. They have to start searching, find out the keywords that are relevant, and then generate enough traffic and revenue, and then come up with a list of good ones. So I show you how you can do it with generative AI in less than 5 minutes. So the first thing that we do, for example, we go to Google because we know that a lot of people uh, we like to be found on Google. So because of that, we go to Google and we type um, solar panel companies in Irvine. So when we do that, basically what we did was we find all our competitors that did a great job because they are on the first page of Google. So they are our competitors, they are on first page of Google. So they did a good job. And now we want to find out what keywords they use. So we come here, we can either write the name or we can use a plugin like SEO Quake that capture the screen and save all information in an Excel sheet. Again, if you don't have it, you can just write the name of this company. So all we did, we came to Google, we find all the companies that are on the first page of Google and then write them down. So the next thing is we put them in a Google Sheet, the name of the company. Now we want to find out what they are using. So of course I can go to ChatGPT and say, find out all the keywords in this website. But maybe for 10, 15 companies, I can do it. But what about if I had 300 companies? I have to go to ChatGPT 300 times and then get 300 lists. So the way that we do it here now is very interesting. We come here, we go to extensions, we I go to GPT for Sheets, and then we enable GPT function. So in Google Sheets, I enable ChatGPT access. So that was the first thing that we did. And then when the GPT is connected, now we can use GPT function. So after we enable GPT, we can use GPT function the same way that we use other functions. So I can come here in the keyword and say, in the keywords, I can say equal to GPT. So I'm calling GPT function. Let me put it here. I can say in here, I can use the function that's called GPT. So after enabling GPT, I come here and say equal GPT. So I'm calling ChatGPT. A2 is the information that I'm passing to ChatGPT. A2 is the name of this website. And then give me the keywords in this website. And it lists all the keywords in this website. Now, the nice thing about that is I can copy and paste. I can copy this B2 to all these, and then immediately it gets all the keywords for this website. So the same way that we use functions in Excel, we can do this. So if you have 1,000 websites, you can still do that. 1,000 websites, you can do this. So you can use this technique for a lot of things, for uh, RFP scraping, um, summaries, and um, then applying for a job. Let's say you have 50 companies, you can use this technique to write a customized uh, email. Since we are running out of time, I just show you one more thing. Um, Before that, I should tell you that if you ask ChatGPT and Gemini the same exact question, you see here, I ask the same exact question. If my dental office has 2 locations, should I create Google My Business profile or one? ChatGPT says it's recommended to create 2. Gemini says it's better to create 1. So be very careful. Again, this is not something that you can 100% rely. The last thing that I want to talk about is all the researchers show that traffic on Google is decreasing. Uh, the organic traffic is disrupted. Why? Because if you go to Google and search for guacamole recipe, you see a lot of information, videos, captcha, banner, uh, a lot of noise and distraction. You were just looking for guacamole recipe, and then you cannot find what you are looking for. Again, a lot of distraction, captcha, video, and so on. On the other hand, if you go to ChatGPT and how to make guacamole, you get a very straight and short answer. So that shows basically the concept that people are moving from Google and go to generative AI. So because of that, um, search engine optimization is gradually um, fading, and then we have generative AI optimization, meaning that people go to ChatGPT and search for businesses. And you want to be here. When people go to ChatGPT and search for the service, you want them to find you. This is where we were like 20, 25 years ago when Google started. Um, People didn't know about SEO, didn't care about SEO. Right now, this is with ChatGPT and generative AI. So you want to be here. When people search, you want to be here. You want to be here. Um, they are still in the early stage. For example, if you search for best web development company in Irvine, you see this, just the text. If you remove in, you see this. So different UX, different results. Again, there are a lot of things that it's not correct, but you have to start right now to be on the first page of generative AI, and this is what you have to do. If you want to be on the first page on SEO, this is what you have to do. If you want to be on a generative AI, this is what you have to do. Make sure AI can crawl your site, confirm the site has clear value proposition, get listed in directories, reviews, press release, get posts on big publications and so on. So generative AI is very important. Unfortunately, we are running out of time. I wanted to talk about um, PPC and email marketing that we can't. Um, my name is Farid Parvini. This is the email that I created for Score, Score at webconcepts.ai. If you have any questions, send an email to this and I promise I'll answer. If you have a website, send it to me. We can do a complete website analysis, local listing, complete SEO reports. There is no obligation, nothing to buy. We're just trying to help. Thank you so much for attending the webinar today, and I hope to see you soon.